Oh, All right. We're going to try and solve a certain type of problem that you're going to need to know how to do on your test. And it's going to involve, basically, I'm going to give you 2 points, any 2 random points, and you're going to need to find the equation of the line. So you have all the tools that you need to know how to do this. But let's get to it and just see exactly how this is done. All right. Here, we're going to go to, let's see, we're going to go to full screen mode, hit a few buttons, goof around a little bit, go to our notebook, go to a new page, and then we're going to go full screen. All right, here we go. Okay, so the way the question goes is I have these 2 points, 5, 17, and 8, 32, and I want to know, and these lie on a line. They lie on a line. So I know that you know what? Let's just write this better. Let's write this better. So these 2 points lie on a line. What is the equation of that line? Well, you haven't seen a problem that looks exactly like this, but let's turn this into a problem that you actually know how to do. And that looks like this. We're going to say, well, if this is 2 ordered pairs that lie on a line, let's make it look like let's just put those into a table here of x and y. And so let's put our 2 points like this and like this. And I've told you that they live on a line, so you know something that must be true. And that is that delta y over delta x is constant between all 2 points on that line. So let's find out, in this case, between these 2 points, what is our delta y divided by our delta x? Well, 32 minus 17 is 15. So that's a positive 15 to go from 17 to 20 to 32. To go from 5 to 8, we have plus 3. So our delta y, delta x in this case, has got to be 15 positive over 3, or equal to 5. Now there's 2 ways you can go about, well, let's start here. Let's say now the equation of this line has got to be, because it is a line, it's y equals mx plus b. All lines have this formula where m is the slope and b is our y-intercept. Now we know that this number here, our delta y over our delta x, is another word for our slope. So we know that our formula must be y equals 5x plus b. So we're getting close here. There's y equals 5x plus b. Now we know something very interesting about all points that are on this line. All points must make this equation true. So if we take this x and this y and we plug them in here, then it must be true. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's take our y and put our 17 in for y. And we're going to put our 5 in for x. So here's our 5 for our slope, our 5 for our m. Now our x here is 5. And we don't yet know what b is, but notice how we have now an equation with only one unknown. And so we can solve for that b. So we're going to say, well, 17 equals 25 plus b. Now if I subtract 25 from both sides, I get b is equal to -8. So if b is equal to -8, I can just take my formula here and just write it like this, say y is equal to 5x plus a -8. And that's the same thing as y equals 5x minus 8. And there is our formula. Now I can go back and I can check it and I can say, well, if this is really true, that it's got to also work for this number here. So this ordered pair here. So let's make sure that that's true and say, well, does 32 equal 5 times 8 minus 8? Does 32 equal to 40 minus 8? And the answer is yes. So we've checked it. We know that this is our equation. Now there's another way of doing this, and that's to find the equation, and that's like this. Well, we could have said we have our x and our y, we have our 5 and our 17, and we have our 8 and our 32, and we've done our calculation and said, well, yeah, 15 and that's 5, so our m is equal to 15. Sorry, going too fast here. That's 3. So 15 over 3 is equal to 5. So we can come and we can say, well, y is equal to 5x plus b. And now the way that we're going to find our b is we're going to say, well, we need to know what 0 is. When 0 is our input, what is our output? Well, the way that we do that is we'd say, well, we know that delta y over delta x has to equal 5. So let's do it in a different color. So we know our delta x between these 2 points would be 5. And if our delta y over our delta x must be equal to 5, then our delta y must be 25. That makes sense because 15 over 3 is 5, 25 over 5 is 5. So this would have to be true. This would have to be a difference of 25 to make this true. Well, if you count back 25 from 17, you get -8. Because -8 plus 25 is 17. So here is our ordered pair when our input is 0. And so here, similarly, we could say, well, we know that our y, our b value, is the value of our output when our input is 0. So we could similarly say y is equal to 5x minus 8. And we get, obviously, the same answer. So this is a problem that we're going to work on in class tomorrow, but I wanted to put it up for any of those of you who wanted to see this in advance and help us and help you think through how we do this, or maybe to have a visual representation and an audio representation before class. And feel free to pause it, review it, and replay it, or to ask me questions tomorrow about how you can use this formula to build, or use this process to calculate any line given 2 points. Okay, so now we have to